I am so grateful that you're here, present today. Thank you so much. I'd just like to ask one question. Is dying or death peaceful?
Yes.
Okay, more people who haven't asked before, can we have those who have never asked a question before?
As His Holiness mentioned, every act of good and selfless deed does maximum benefit to the doer himself. So my question is, does the act still remain good and selfless if the doer knows that it's going to come back to him?
Karsa. English.
So it's going.
Champagne Mulvese.
Hello.
Okay, good morning, Your Holiness. Would you
Professor
please...
Sain Gupta, just once. We'll come to you.
Foremost, a very welcome for His Holiness and the Lingam Rinpoche for this kind visit tonight. And we are very much obliged because of his frequent visit to this university in the midst of his very, very hectic schedule. Thank you very much, His Holiness.
Karsa.
And my question is, how His Holiness personally define life in vain? Life in vain. Mili Rinpoche Chungse Chusedo. Because we consider we are blessed as in born as a human being. So, how he considered life in vain?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, Sunita, we'll ask you.
What does moksha or nirvana mean to a common man? And what do you think, Your Holiness, that you would like to suggest for a common man? How can he or she attain it?
Good morning, Your Holiness. Would you please share...
Gentlemen there, just one at a time. So let us point out and then we have questions. Yes? Yes, sir. You can ask now.
Okay. Would you please share some of your unforgettable memories, sacrifices, and international community help in your exile life?
Karsa. Karoso. Your question not very clear.
Would you please share some of your unforgettable memories, sacrifices, and international community help in your exile life?
Karsa. Karsa. Oh.
Good morning, sir. My question is it possible to attain liberation without completing the karma cycle? And is liberation a personal realization, or is a divine influence required for liberation? And also, as we humans strive for happiness and peace, so why is it so hard for us to realize the need for liberation?
Karsa. No.
And what is the second part? Why is it so hard? Why do we strive for liberation?
As we as humans strive for happiness and peace, so why is it so hard for us to realize the need for liberation?
Down you got it. Oh, okay.
Is modern science can also harm?
Yeah, go on. The girl. Yes.
Good morning, Your Holiness. Your Holiness, I just want to know that Buddhism is, without offending anyone here, I just want to know that Buddhism is generally blamed of escapism. Like life is full of sorrows, we must do away with desires. So what do you personally feel about it? Thank you.
Karsa. What is Buddhism?
Do away with desire.
To do something.
Do away with desire.
Okay, yes. Next.
Is modern science can also harm human beings, for example, cloning or stem cells? It can have also, the modern science can also have another side For example, cloning. It can also bring harm to the human being.
Clones.
In the Nalanda tradition, and at that time, considering that Tibetan Buddhism carries forward that tradition, so what was the, like I'm a student of philosophy, and the way we study it is that there's a metaphysics on which then the ethics is based, and you based on the metaphysics of an Atman and on the ethics. Is there a political philosophy, or I don't know, how would you?
What does it mean by political philosophy?
I don't know, what does Buddhism have to say about
What does it mean from your point of view?
some understanding of the state or of a citizen or of a nation, rights, ethics, duties, like that.
And with your permission, can I also, do I have a right to ask a question? This is actually my wife's question, and she couldn't be here, so she asked me to pass this to His Holiness, and I asked him in the morning, but to share so that I haven't still received an answer. And the question is, if there's so much suffering in the world, animals are suffering, humans are suffering, and we are sensitive to that suffering, we are compassionate, then how do we remain happy? How does His Holiness remain cheerful? And is it ethical to remain cheerful and happy when there's so much suffering in the world?
That is right. Now first question. As I mentioned yesterday, so every phenomena which have life, which have the basic right to exist, then naturally that means end. So it's some kind of uncomfortable happen. But then yesterday also I mentioned, if things, although you feel very painful but unavoidable, then not much use to too much worry. Death we must accept as a part of our life. Logically, there is birth, there is death. Logical. Now, the major factor is death, in any case, come part of our life. So important is, while we are alive, our daily life should be meaningful, purposeful. As I mentioned yesterday, very purpose of our life is happy, satisfaction, calm. And then, you see, utilize our body, speech, mind to benefit as much as you can to other. Then last day come, you feel okay, no regret. I utilize my whole life in a positive way, some benefit to other. Never create harm other. Then you feel very happy, no regret at least. So that's one way. Then of course, religious believer, then according to one's own religious faith, you see there are some different method at the time of death. Next. What about? Okay. Now second question. Of course, altruism. No? Altruism Oh. Altruism, there are many levels. According to Buddhism, the topmost sort of altruism we call bodhicitta. Bodhi means enlightened, enlightenment. So the very name of the infinite altruism we call enlightened. Just one.
Bodhicitta.
So that means that infinite altruism combination with wisdom or awareness. So firstly, your main concern is well-being of other. And actual bodhicitta mind, changju tyoni, shanju tyoni, niyo.
So there's bodhicitta, the altruistic intention to become a Buddha. So it is consisted of two parts. One, with the aspiration for the benefit of others, and the other, the aspiration to achieve Buddhahood for oneself.
So the element, one's own benefit also there. But that in order to help other. If you yourself remain
without any potential or capability,
like usually you see it mentioned, like a mother who very much sort of love her child, that child, when you see carried by the river, then mother
if the mother is handicapped, then the mother can't do anything to protect or to save the life of the child.
In order to protect, in order to help other, firstly, you yourself, you see, should improve some ability to help other. Otherwise, just wishful thinking. So, right from the beginning, if the person they practice these things in order to gain maximum to oneself, then wrong. Think others top most important, but byproduct you get maximum benefit. Okay. So sometimes I see telling people, we are selfish, but we should be wise selfish rather than foolish selfish. So maximum help other, bring maximum happiness, satisfaction to oneself. That's wise selfish. Self-interest, the neglect about others' well-being, and worst thing, harm other, exploiting on other, abuse other, suppress other, cheating other, lying other. That's foolish, sort of selfish. What do you think? Do you agree? That is. Next question. Milichusu. Sometimes I tell people, our life, maximum 100 years. So this is to compare the 5 billions of years since you see our planet is to start, or since Big Bang happened, then I think between 15 to 20 billions of years. So 100 years, very short. So from the Buddhist viewpoint, the limitless birth. Now we simply come here as a visitor, tourist, short period. So while you visit as a visitor, a tourist, create more problems. That's the really wasteful of your life. It's senseless. Say a sort of tourist, spend a few days at a place, then try to create problem at that place. It's senseless. You just visit this area and then go. So we, from kind of wider perspective, like that. So 100 years, about I think at least 10, 15 years is a child. And later part, too old, you yourself cannot manage properly. So between there, your life should be, if possible, serve other people, help other people. If not, at least restrain harming other. Then your life becomes meaningful life, whether believer or non-believer. Just to think oneself and exploit other, harming other, is wasteful. Right? You really become troublemaker. Nowadays, you see, the Chinese communists describe me as a troublemaker. So maybe I am a troublemaker. So the reality, short 100 years, should not be troublemaker in this planet. Be a nice person. I'm exception. And sometimes I jokingly telling my friend, since the Chinese government, communist, is consider me as a troublemaker, so in order to justify the accusation, I have to create some problems for them. Next question. Moksha, nirvana, I think every sentient being's sort of right to achieve that. As we already mentioned yesterday, moksha means improve a condition of our mind. So reach certain level, the more serious sort of destructive emotion completely eliminate. That's moksha. Other pever tenichiya sigjejare drumna chimdunna tharwayo madrum ringun naja ngasong jus.
So there is a popular Tibetan expression which says that if you are able, if you put effort, then even as a layperson, as a householder, you can achieve moksha. But if you are not ardent in your practice, then even if you are in a solitary retreat, even then would give rise to causes to propel you in unfavorable births the next time.
So everybody have the opportunity to improve one's own mind, one's own thinking. Sometimes I just jokingly telling people or expressing, there should be, now we should have two kinds of nirvana or moksha. One individual moksha, that's I just mentioned. Another moksha is peaceful, compassionate world. That's also the moksha of community, moksha of humanity. Like that. So I think the altruistic attitude with full self-confidence, then there is possibility to achieve world moksha, moksha of 6 billion humanity. I think possible. In any case, whether materialized within our lifetime or not, it is really worthwhile to make attempt. I think Buddha's achievement or Jesus Christ's achievement not materialized within his own lifetime. and also Nagarjuna, all these masters. But they make effort, they show guidance way or path to sort of what's the future humanity. So like that. Boy, then next question. Unforgettable, I don't know. Of course, the night 17th March 1959, I escaped from Nobulinga. That's really unforgettable because there is actual danger on life. And if my life goes, and that also, you see, some extent, you see, also Kasuta, quite sort of the setback, our struggle. So that night, you see, just cross Tichu River, Brahmaputra River. Then from other side, we have to go other side, I think at least a few kilometers. I think maybe 20, 30 kilometers maybe. But it's just other side, Chinese military camp. So from other side, we can see the other side, Chinese military barracks. And sentry, we can see. And meantime, although we completely sort of the dark, not using flash. Fortunately, some light from the moon, some light there. Otherwise, it's completely dark. But there's a noise from the roof, horse, hoof, like that. So it can easily hurt the other side. So that's one because of unforgettable sort of memory, because of fear, because of danger. Then happy with memory, when I reach Kansamani, the Chinese refuse, there's actual border. According to similar convention, there's border. So when I reach that spot where my long-time friend, the official, high official from the Ministry of External Affairs, and with a translator, one skimmies, and then another bodyguard as a Jagarkhamba. Since 1956, I know. And then the official from the Ministry of External Affairs who just spent a few years in Lhasa as the Indian consulate, consul general, like that. So we know. So when I reached that border, now no longer threat, fear. And on top of that, I met my old friend, waiting me there, and full smile. That's another unforgettable memory. Like that. And then, of course, my first meeting with Chairman Mao and with other Chinese dignitary. As you know, the Chinese always is a very formal way. And the first time, and too much formal, that is, even you see, how to enter the hall where these leaders were waiting. So the Chinese, some special officer, you see, came to the day before and instruct us the first step, second step, and some step, then should stand. Then go this way. So they instructed us very detailed So everybody very nervous when we enter that hall. And particularly my tutor, the former Lingam Mshe, too much nervous. So that also one unforgettable way. And then of course Buddha Jayanti celebration, 1956, meeting with Indian first president, Rajendra Prasad. Oh, really wonderful, wonderful person, really wonderful. And Dr. Radhakrishna as a vice president, and Pandit Nehru, prime minister. And then I remember Morarji Desai and Pandit Pant, home minister. All these real, and Raja Gopalachari, and Raja Dekasa, Jayaprakash Narayan, all these. That generation. Anyway, I'm quite fortunate, you see, seeing that generation. You are not. Then, Tabatobaliya, the Jain Chavina, less more sacrifice.
The question is on to achieve moksha or nirvana, is it necessary that all karmas are to be exhausted? Then His Holiness's reply is that according to Jainism, the karmas need to be exhausted.
Buddhism, according to Buddhism, less core penchig, less sato saba ga. Ngasa le yordi, tell us so they can you move never chayundu, tabashego.
According to Buddhism, however, it is slightly different. So what happens when one achieves nirvana is that the new accumulation of new karma ceased. However, we do have, the person still is in possession of the previously accumulated karmas. But since the negative emotions, they are eliminated, these karmas don't have the factors to enhance them or to temper them to give rise to the results. So that is the state of achieving nirvana.
Chibal ni she. That was soon so she shared that Nyumobe Tiba, Shije Tiba, Nyumjuk Tibas. The Nyumjuk Tibas, Domna, Jik that things to the daily Kudo, and the city Kudo. Takada, so shared Nyumobada, Nyashik Tiba Nize. The Nyumobe Tiba Pangsona, and
so, what obstructs one from achieving higher states, such as nirvana, we technically call them as obstructions. And these obstructions, technically there are three. One is afflictive obscuration, cognitive obscuration, and obscuration to meditative stabilization. So of these three, if you are able to eliminate the first one, which is afflictive obscuration, then you achieve nirvana or moksha.
So the basis or seed of that sort of kasoda, kasa, or tuba.
The obscuration?
No, is the ignorance which, which kasoda, distorted ultimate reality of phenomena, ultimate reality of self. So that's why anatma, selflessness theory come. So selflessness theory, understand that, reduce the wrong view about self. So once that reduce, that wrong view about self is the basis of attachment, anger, hatred, fear, all these things, or negative fear. Of course, there is reasonable fear also there. That's good. And also doubt, or skeptical. They are also positive and negative. Even anger can be positive and negative. Attachment, for time being, could be some positive. Time being, can be positive, but long run, negative. So I think we need detailed sort of dictionary about these different emotions. Emotion also, you see, not independent or absolute. So one negative emotion due to previous cause, due to other condition, it under particular circumstances, due to other factor, can be positive. And the positive emotion, but due to some other reasons, other factor, can be harmful. Like that. So you see, we need very detailed sort of map about these emotions and counter force. Like that. Next. Yes, if you look, the Four Noble Truth, and only because the first truth, and also you see many Buddhist literature, because of the detailed explanation about first truth. And again now suffering of suffering, suffering of change, suffering of condition suffering. So 3 levels. So in order to achieve nirvana or liberate oneself, it is important to know the seed of ignorance. For that reason, the harmfulness about ignorance is very essential. For that related with third suffering. So it states the suffering of suffering, I mean desire for overcome that even animal also have. Now desire to overcome suffering of change, those samadhi practitioners also have. For example, the practitioner, Hindu practitioner or Jain practitioner, they really carrying sort of hardships already.
A hardship.
No, hardship. So these, they no longer desire for, pleasant worldly
pleasures.
Worldly pleasure. So they realize these are very nature of change suffering, not permanent, not absolute. Now the third sort of suffering is so long dominant by ultimate ignorance, is suffering. So therefore, the Buddha, the first of teaching, he mentioned Dungeshyavashas.
So it is for this reason that the Buddha, in his first discourse, he said that you should identify what suffering is constituted of.
Yeah. So therefore, anyone who just read these parts, then you may get the impression that Buddhism is something like pessimism. Then you must read third truth, cessation. Third truth is cessation of suffering. Then the fourth truth, path of that cessation. Then you get the fuller picture about Buddhism. It always is referred like that. A prisoner in prison, if the prisoner feel in the prison is very happy place, then it never develop desire to escape from the prison. In order to create effort to escape from the prisons, first you must realize this is not a happy place. So if samsara, we call samsara, you know samsara? Samsara, if you really feel very happy, then no need Buddhism. Enjoy yourself. Alcohol, little fighting here, little sort of attachment here, and then very happy, very colorful, isn't it? Detach, less colorful. but detached with clear realization of ultimate destination, nirvana, permanent sort of happiness, permanent joyfulness. And furthermore, Buddhahood. From Buddhist viewpoint, our final destination is Buddhahood. So, keeping in our mind that final destination, then with long-sighted interest, then worthwhile, make effort in order to develop that kind of enthusiasm, realize present condition is not sort of happy one, like that. So that's the sequence like that. So I always telling, that's the when I give some lecture about Buddhism, if later two truths not there, then no use to think about first two truths. Now compassion, also now, compassion means just concern about other sort of well-being. You should have fuller knowledge. There is possibility of end of that suffering. Then you develop genuine sense of concern. If you just, without seeing, without knowing the possibility of cessation, then compassion is just something like wishful thinking, just concern, like animal. You see another animal suffering, then much sort of worry, that's all. More knowledgeable. Or there is, now for example, one boat, you see, carrying some people, and then they begin to drown. Then someone see just a few yards, there is land. So seeing that, then the sort of concern of the protection of these boat people much stronger. On the other hand, there's no end, you see. There's no way to escape from that. Then simply feel, oh, so sorry. That's all. So that's why wisdom is immense sort of help to develop that kind of compassion. Karuna, Mahakaruna. Karuna in general, particularly Mahakaruna, with a fuller picture of the possibility of the cessation. Then develop sense of concern. So the Karuna, Paranja must combine. Just compassion without wisdom is something like blind. With wisdom, clear sort of picture, awareness. So sense of compassion, genuine sense of compassion, must be based on valid cognition. Or cloning. I think that we cannot generalize. Even abortion, we cannot generalize. Generally speaking, yes, this is wrong. It's act of killing. But one particular circumstances, for greater interest, for greater number of people, then sometimes it can be permissible. So now clone, now I think too early to say positive, negative. These research work eventually, carried with sincere motivation, and then eventually real positive result come. Then it's okay. With just sort of out of curiosity, out of sort of just research, and without sort of concerning about life, then manipulate is wrong. Isn't it? Like that. So, Buddhist approach, because everything is depend on the awareness of consequences, fuller awareness of the consequences. So, it itself something.
So earlier, yesterday, His Holiness mentioned about the 9 ways of approaching the disciples when giving instructions, allowing something and sometimes prohibiting something and sometimes asking them to do.
So because of different circumstances. So all these, you see, use intelligence and full awareness about the circumstances, then these, you see, different approaches happen, like that. So, very flexible. Then, next question.
So the political philosophy in Buddhism is not much not much stressed to be based on metaphysics of the concept of selflessness.
지소 계시하비는 패질 분소 뜻이래요. 그러다 가서 분소 뜻이나 당분이부터 배래요.
So what you described of the political philosophy in the sense of the social things, in Buddhism there is what is known as the four, the prosperous.
분소 뜻이나 게 분소 당분이부터.
There are four prosperous factors, and the first two come out of this.
So I think the basic thing is like that. See, the goal of Buddha Dharma, one temporary, one long term or permanent. So permanent nirvana, temporary sungmandu punso.
The temporary goodness is the immediate goodness in the sense of a favorable state while you are still in samsara.
So punso dishumbre.
So it is for this reason that they are a set of four prosperous things.
Ngondu punso di drupchachane di gyudi norre.
And
thirdu punso di tarbachane di gyudi chere.
So what are these four prosperous things? The first one is the prosperity in the sense of in the sense of favorable rebirths or favorable states while you're in samsara. So that is the goal, and the means to get there is the wealth. So wealth is the means to get there and to achieve that. And the second goal is the goal in terms of nirvana or goal in terms of liberation. For that, the means is the practice of the dharma.
So the concept of anatma related here, not here. Da and the society 계실자네 당분이 들어가.
So when you're talking about the political philosophy or the social the things, it is to do with the first two goodnesses. Goodnesses in terms of the favorable states while you're in samsara and the means to achieve that, which is the wealth.
고불루루기 란나말라 나리아 문드 핀조 지조 디기 과제 송도와.
Nagarjuna, he very clearly highlighted in his text Ratnavali, Precious Garland, as to the means, as to how to create about social well-being.
전에 하던 배신 더 나리 요소리 전에 너도 땡주 니게 나리야 룩지 땡주 사디리 지조 컨디션 고임도 시거래.
So in fact, if you probe into the teachings of the Buddha and the commentarial teachings by the later Indian masters, we see that there's a separate set of teachings meant to create about the well-being of the society.
Like that. Done? Oh. Yes. Last question? Last question, correct. Oh, your question. Yes, that's right. The answer chung solution together. I think answer already, I think, made, you see, the altruism in order to help effectively other. First, you yourself improve. In other words, in order to manage others' well-being, first, you yourself you should manage properly. So there is the guilty solution.
So actually, this
I think, you see, like you, I think main sort of purpose is, you see, teaching or helping student. But in order to do that, first, you yourself, you see, should get professorship. This is not necessarily because of the guilty or selfish view. In order to serve other more effective, first you yourself should qualify, isn't it? That we cannot say selfish. Otherwise, all the professors.
How does one remain happy when there's so much sorrow around?
Yes, there are some practitioners about altruism. For example, Lengri Thangpa, Kishi Lengri Thangpa, I think 11th century or 12th century. Great practitioner of altruism. Because of suffering, he always weeping. So his nickname is Langdang Munawasere.
So it is for this practice of him, the practice of altruism, compassion, always wailing, that he is nicknamed as the great scholar who wails all the time.
But for me, it is rather foolish. Look, Buddha's face, no tear. Look, Nagarjuna's face, all these great masters' face, not like Langdang Munapa.
Not like the wailing Geshe.
So Buddha and Nagarjuna, all these great sort of masters, they are realistic. As a sort of, a practice of sharing other suffering. Oneself always worry, no use. Too much worry, your energy reduce. Your thinking power reduce. So without sort of fully utilize your thinking power and your energy, how can you serve other people? So there must be some element to keep your enthusiasm. Clear? I think that's answer for your question. On behalf of your wife, isn't it? So if not satisfied, then next year we can discuss further. So thank you.